Shalom and welcome back to the Israelite Girl's Guide to Living for the Most High. I am Deja, your host, and welcome to episode 8. I cannot believe, which I always say this at the beginning, but I cannot believe that we are 8 episodes into season 2. That is amazing. That is extraordinary. And the Most High has been over this whole entire season, and I thank you so much for being here as well. We have talked about some great topics, and if you haven't, please go check out the previous episodes within season 2. We talked about modesty, we talked about faith, we talked about trust, we talked about humility, we talked about accountability, we talked about what else did we talk about? We talked about gratitude. So we've definitely touched on some really hot topics and some important topics as it pertains to this walk and how you should live as an Israelite girl and an Israelite woman. So thank you so much for being here. And I just have to shout out to the brothers as well. I have seen the brothers in the comments. And of course, my husband is always a huge supporter of anything that I do. So shout out to the brothers and thank you also for tuning in as well. Today, we are going to talk about something very interesting. I do have a little story for you, again, which I love doing. But this topic is definitely an important one. I know a lot of sisters have probably endured many different trials when it comes to this specific topic, and I'm sure they have their own stories, just as I have my own experiences dealing with this specific topic. So let's just get into it. The question I'm going to ask for you today is, whose image are you portraying? And, shameless plug to my sister Jatea for Sister Reclaim Your Image. She is the sponsor for this video. Please definitely get the book if you haven't already. But I ask, whose image are you portraying? Because once you start living for the Most High and you start to change your image from a worldly image to a righteous image, the world does not want to see that. The world does not want you to leave the world. The world wants you to stay exactly where you are. And if you are not careful, you'll find yourself actually, portraying an image that you don't want to. And so I asked this question because some months ago, I posted a reel on Instagram, which you can check out, of just my transition over the past 3 years. How over the past 3 years, I changed my image drastically. I look very different from how I looked 3 years ago. And honestly, if I had prepared beforehand, I would have pulled up an image for you. But if you are following me on social media or subscribe to my YouTube channel, you've probably already seen the video. But if you haven't, please take a look. But I made a post a while back just showing my transition from before I knew who I really was to present day. And, it did receive some really nice comments, some encouraging comments, some sisters saying, wow, like this was very motivating. Thank you so much for sharing this. Or some sisters just being encouraging, like, yeah, I've seen your transition. I've witnessed it. All praise to the Most High, that he called you out of the world. But it also received an influx of hate speech, like so much hate speech, so many rude comments, so much hate and just malice riddled the post. And I could not believe it. And, people were actually saying that I was cosplaying being an Israelite, which was the weirdest thing to me because, first of all, they were saying that I was Israeli, which I'm not from the state of Israel. I am not an Israeli citizen. I do not subscribe to religion. I am not in the Judaism faith, and I've never proclaimed to be. So for all of those people who did say that, oh, you're cosplaying, no, you're actually cosplaying, but that's a topic for another day. It was just so interesting because why is it that when you turn from your wicked ways and the wicked image and decide to walk in the truth, now people are attributing it to an act, or like you're just putting on a costume or a charade, or it's just a character that you've become and it's not really who you are. That was so weird to me because who I was in the world when I was living wickedly and, dressing immodestly, that was the act. That was the character. That was the charade. That wasn't actually who I was. I was just doing that. That was just what you do when you're in the world. But that wasn't exactly who I was. That didn't define who I was. And so for the people in the world to now look at me and say that I'm cosplaying being something else, that was just the most baffling thing to me. But it made sense because when you were in the world, people thought that who you were was the reality. And that might be the saddest fact of all. When you were living wickedly and doing, unholy things, people thought that's actually who you were. People really thought that was your character. And the whole time, that was actually something else that was in control of your life. That wasn't you. That wasn't the Most High. That was an evil spirit that had attached itself to you, that was operating you and was living out through you. And people thought that was you. That's frightening. That's terrifying. And, I know a lot of sisters have experienced this too, like as far as just the whole single woman independent scene, the whole I don't need a man scene, or the whole I need too many men scene. That really wasn't who you were. And now you've come into the light and you've realized that you're actually a woman of Yah. You're actually a daughter of Zion. You actually seek to be somebody's wife, somebody's mother one day. And you know that you wouldn't want your future husband and future kids seeing that image that you used to portray, seeing that character that you used to play, seeing that person that you were acting like, who actually wasn't you. You know that you don't want them to see that. And so now you've decided to come into the light and live a righteous life. And it's honestly just so fulfilling seeing other people's transitions as well as seeing my own, because I never imagined I'd be where I am today. Like sitting here, even doing this podcast, speaking to other sisters like me, and having people, send me kind words and messages saying that I've encouraged them and inspired them and motivated them to do better. And I've made them want to seek a relationship with the Most High. Like, all praise goes to the Most High for that. I don't receive any glory for that. I'm nobody. Like 3 years ago, I was really out here like a harlot. And today I'm able to sit here and just share how the Most High has saved me from myself. And so all praise goes to him. But speaking to that, I used to cosplay as a harlot. Nowadays, all these people on the internet are thinking I'm cosplaying being an Israelite. No, I'm actually living out who I really am. I was cosplaying as a harlot before, and everyone thought that that was actually me. And I used to cosplay the image of the beast. I know y'all know what that image is. That image is the long nails, so long you can't even, do basic tasks. The foul language, the man-eater behavior, the seductive secular behavior, the long wigs that could never be your hair for real. Not saying you can't grow hair, just saying your hair will never look like that, even if it does get that long. The long hair that came from an Indian woman who sacrificed her hair to gods for good fortune. Like these are images that are not authentic. These are images that are not real. The caked up beat face that you have to scrape an inch off your face just to even get down to your skin for real. The long eyelashes that are just obscene. These are things that are not real. You have sisters out here dying on operation tables for BBLs and all types of nonsense. That's not your image. Why do we keep portraying the image of the beast when we're meant to be so much more than that? And so that's something I definitely want to exclaim to the heavens, to all the four corners of the earth. You do not need that stuff. Do not portray an image that is not yours. When you choose to walk in the image of the Most High, it becomes a facade. People look at that like that's not real, like it's inauthentic, like you're pretending to be somebody else. When in reality, you've actually uncovered the veil of falsities and lies, and you're learning who you actually are. You're walking in the identity that the Most High really had in store for you. And now people think it's a charade. That is crazy. A key indication that the world is twisted is that men can cosplay as women and women can cosplay as men, and it is accepted and somewhat respected on a major scale. Just really think about that. If I came out one day and said, you know what, I no longer identify as a woman, I identify as a man, people would applaud for me. I would get all types of support. I would become an advocate for all types of things. People would want me to speak to large crowds of people, to share my motivating story and testimony about how I realized I was something that I could never be. Really? We're really going to sit here and let men pretend to be women and women pretend to be men, but I can't come out and say, hey, I'm actually not from the serpent seed. I am from the Most High seed, a righteous seed, and I seek to live a righteous life. Somehow that gets no respect and no acceptance. Ain't that a shame? That's the world we live in. That's why we're trying to leave the world and get back to earth. If you know, you know. I'm going to let that marinate. We are not meant to fit into this world. We are literally meant to be set apart. We are meant to be peculiar. We are meant to be different. We are meant to be special to the Most High. And if the Most High hates everything about this evil, wicked world, we should too. And it shouldn't be a surprise that the evil, wicked world does not like the Most High or his children. That makes a lot of sense, actually, that they wouldn't like us. So, I welcome your dislike and disdain for myself, because I love the Most High and I seek to live for him. I seek to reflect his image, and I seek to share with others how they should do the same thing. Period. Do not let the world discourage you from continuing on the path of righteousness. They will definitely try to. Like I said earlier, the world does not want you to leave. The world wants you to stay right where they are, because they know their end is going to be a fiery one, and they want you to endure those flames with them. Do not fall for the trap. Get out of there. You do not need that. You need to seek the eternal life, the eternal water, the real fountain of youth is eternal life, because you never die. Why would you want to be a part and associate with and portray an image that's going to be destroyed? That's literally the worst thing you could ever do. Please get out of that charade, because that is the real charade and the real act and the real minstrel show, because they want to pretend like that's really what everyone should be out here doing, when that's the opposite of what you should be doing. Everything this world portrays has death in it. It has no life. It has no light. It has no love. We are getting back to the love, light, and life code. And if that's something that you're about, then I highly suggest you abandon anything that looks like anything remotely close to what the world will accept and love. I promise you, because the Most High is not accepting anything that looks like a beast. You shouldn't want to be a beast. You should not want to be a serpent. You should not want to be any of those things, because the Most High wants you to be set apart. He loves you. He created you for a specific purpose, and he's waiting on you to accept your true identity. That way you can begin doing the things he wants you to do and living out his will and not your own. So I know that was like boom, 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 back to back. That was a lot. But, I was really bothered when I saw all the hate. It confused me. But then I was quickly reminded that we're operating in the grid right now. And obviously they're not going to accept and love what we stand for and who we love. And so we shouldn't even have to worry about that at all. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today. Whose image are you portraying? Make sure you're portraying the image of the Most High and not the image of something else. And it would be wrong of me to not play this quick commercial for you. So I'm going to let this play and I'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by Sister Reclaim Your Image, a critical analysis on pre- and post-slavery caricatures and their effect on the global image of Black women. Get your copy on sisterreclaimyourimage.com. Like I said before, make sure you go to sisterreclaimyourimage.com. Use a love note. If you have a love note, get yourself a copy of this amazing book. It will literally change your life. Everything that I just said is what the book speaks about. How we have been lied to this whole time to think that we should portray an image that is not, organic to us, not authentic to us. And it's caused us a lot of man-made and inorganic issues because we're adopting things that are not real for us. And so make sure you do tap in with the book. Shout out to Sister Jatea. And I thank you for being here with me again. Like I always leave you with, please visit YahWillGather.us if you're interested in mobilizing and nation building. Please visit almighty'shouse.life if you're a sister and you care about charity, righteousness, virtuosity, and nation building and community building. If you're a brother, please visit YahWillGather.us/brotherhood. Get involved with the brothers. Get involved with community building and asset building and wealth circulation and all those wonderful things that people say, but we're actually putting action behind it. So I thank you so much for being here. Make sure you're portraying the image of the Most High and not the beast. I thank you so much once again. And I do want to say, I think the next episode is the last episode. Shocking, I know. But I'm not seeing that this season needs to go on any longer. I've said all that needs to be said this go round. So make sure you do tap in next week for the season finale. We're going to be talking about blessings, acceptance, all those wonderful things the Most High gives us. So make sure you do tap in next week. Thank you so much for being here, and shalom.